nearly forgot to add us then. I just sit here reading my notes. Hello and welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. And we are going to have a bit of a rant, but I'll introduce you in a second. Shut up, Matthew. Wait your turn. I'm going to have a bit of a rant tonight, and it's Stargate related, so we'll get into it in a second. And no shock if you've been watching the news, it's going to be giant freaking robot. But Matt, how are you, sir? You're allowed to speak now.
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, sir. I'm a bit irritated.
I know.
I'm slightly annoyed, but we'll get into it. So, this week, giant freaking robot. Right now, the initial story that there's going to be a movie. There's going to be a movie, and Kurt Russell and James Spader could be in it. And initially, when I read it, I went, nah, what a load of rubbish. You can see my video on SciTrek Sides. I then actually spoke to a couple of the people I speak to about this, and actually it's turned out it might have a nugget of truth to it. But I'll explain why I actually think they're just lying, they're making shit up, and they've just got a little bit lucky in a second. But it actually turns out Kurt Russell has... It is possible that if they were to do a reboot movie, that they would like Kurt Russell to appear in it. But the very, very simple truth. Good evening, Shelley. How are you? Runner of our Facebook page and generally just awesome person. And she's Canadian here. So she's just lovely, like all Canadians. I hope she's Canadian. Now she lives in Canada. Oh, anyway. Going off topic. So, giant freaking robot. They did a story saying that Kurt Russell and James Spader are coming back. It's going to be a sequel. I said at the time, this story goes back from a story from 2015 when this was actually proposed and the MGM went as far as greenlighting it, but then it got scrapped. But it is true, and I've known and I've been saying over and over again for the last 12 months, ideally, Amazon would like to do a movie first. They would like to do a big blockbuster, boom, straight to Amazon movie, and then follow up with a TV series. But anyway, you saw the story. What do you think about the original story? And then we're going to go into the other two. I'm going to be speaking about you in a little while, sir. Hello, Sebastian.
The original story being that they're going to be making a movie.
Yeah, I'm doing a movie, a sequel. That's the important thing. It'll be a sequel to the original Stargate movie. Which I think was...
I have always wanted to see the trilogy because back in what was it, like 2015 when they greenlit it originally? Yeah,
2015.
Yeah, I was quite excited for that. Because I wanted to see where Emmerich and that lot originally visioned it to go.
Yeah.
I kind of had we got kind of like a synopsis where it was going to go to like a Mayan kind of planet for the second movie, and then the third one was going to be something that ties it all together and we can discover our origins as a species kind of thing. I kind of like that idea, and I really wanted to see it. However, if they do make a movie, it's going to choose my words carefully. It's going to piss over canon.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, if they do a sequel movie, right? Because the series was based on the movie, right? So the change in actors, it's not the end of the world. Richard Dean Anderson for me is Colonel O'Neill, but so is Kurt Russell. So if Kurt Russell came back as supposedly an older character, or they just wanted to bring Colonel O'Neill back and Richard Dean Anderson didn't want to do it, and let's be honest, he didn't want to do Stargate towards the end, so maybe he doesn't. He's got lots of other projects he's involved in. He's a big environmentalist and stuff. So maybe just want to. So if they want to just bring Kurt Russell in as Jack O'Neill for a new project, a new movie, following on from the series, I think that could work. And you can ignore it because it's still the original actor. Why not? Particularly if RDA doesn't want to do it. But the thing is, if they do a sequel to the original movie, it's got to be. They've got to ignore Stargate SG-1, SG Universe, and SG Atlantis. They've got to, because too much has gone on.
Yeah.
There's too much. It can't be a sequel to the original film. They could do a film that's a continuation, right? A new film where everything happened. But if they do a sequel to the original film, which is what Giant Freaking Robot are talking about, and what they were talking about back in 2015, it's got to be it's got to be a hard reboot basically, even though you're obviously keeping the original film still intact. But you've got to ignore the series. You've got to.
Yeah. My fear with that is if they do go in that direction, and then if a TV show gets greenlit as well, they'll essentially be doing what Disney did with Star Wars and decanonizing everything that came before, like Star Wars Legends, for example. Everything that there was thousands of books written, loads of stories, but they're all now legends. They're not canon.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want that for the series. But if they did a movie, I would accept it if it was positioned as this is not the same universe as SG-1 Atlantis and Universe inhabits. It's a different universe.
Star Trek, this shit. Yeah. Oh man, I hate that. And like I say, anybody that's regular to the channel knows I hate that. So I think it's so lazy. Either do a hard reboot or don't. You know, and I've got nothing wrong against a hard reboot. They're talking about doing a hard reboot of the Highlander movie, and I'm like, yeah, I want to see that. The original Highlander, great story, but they ruined it with the TV series and everything. So I'm just like, yeah, start again, it'd be brilliant. I can see the argument for doing a hard reboot of Stargate because I can't quite see how it's going to work because we got so advanced towards the end. You know, we got so. I mean, what's the villain going to have to be a threat to us because we're so advanced by the end, you know, and it's got to be the human species. I did a video and I basically said we want Stargate, not Star Trek, because towards the end of Stargate, it was becoming a space. I've got a full-on sci-fi, and that's not what Stargate was it? It was always supposed to be like this could happen, this could be real, this could be going on.
Our military right now is going to planets with the technology we have right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Roland Emmerich, in an interview about 6 months ago, did say he'd spoken to Amazon and they were talking about this idea again, right? Or he spoke to MGM, sorry, and they were talking because it was just before the sale went through. But he said he got the distinct impression that they were only interested in the TV audience. They weren't interested in the movie audience. So he says he does not want to do it. He didn't want to do Stargate. He did say at the time, if they do a movie, he might have to be involved because he's contracted to it. And I've already found out since that's not necessarily true if Amazon do a direct to Amazon Prime movie because it's not a cinematic release. So he wouldn't be contractually obliged to get involved. But, you know, that's... Sorry, I lost my train of thought halfway through that sentence. Live is such a pain in the neck, you just lose your train of thought. But he basically said, no, it's not. He's not interested. And for me, if they're talking about the TV audience is more important, they're talking about SG-1, SGU, and SGA. And that's what people love. And I think most gators will say the film was good, but the series is what we love.
Yeah.
But from a financial point of view, Amazon, if somebody that doesn't really care about this looks at the numbers, Stargate is the 10th highest grossing movie of all time for MGM.
Yeah. But the reason people want the show is because the show expanded on the movie. If they try to make lightning strike twice by making a hard reboot in the movie, it's not gonna do as well as it did originally. Because they didn't expect it to do well the first time, and now if they do it again and they expect it to do well, it's not going to happen.
Well, the thing was, I mean, it was actually produced by another production company. It wasn't MGM, and this company was so convinced it was going to bomb, they sold it to MGM for I think it was like $15 million or something silly. It was nothing, and then it went on to gross over $200 million. So I mean, it was at the box office. So I mean, it was like back then. I mean, we're talking 30 years ago, 27 years ago. So I mean, it's it did phenomenally well for them, and obviously then spawned 3 television series, which were phenomenally popular. So it's the second. You've got to remember as well. This is the second most valuable franchise behind Bond for MGM. If you're talking purely money sort of thing. So which is again. So one thing I'm going to say to you right now as well, before everybody and thing, we've got a big We Want Stargate next week. I'm wearing my We Stargate t-shirt. It's available at SciTrek.com. There's other brilliant. I love have you seen my design for the it's the Stargate with a golf swing. I love that design. I'm really quite proud of that design. So nice and simple as well. But anyway, so we've got this. We're going to do a Twitter campaign. I'm going to talk about the Twitter hoopla in a minute. But we've got this Twitter campaign. We want to really shove it down there because it's 25th anniversary of SG1, first appearing on our TV screens. So next week we're going to really think. And that's the reason why we're doing this video today, because it's a week to go and we want to really push it. It's their second highest, most valuable franchise. So I'm going to reassure everybody now. Amazon want to do Stargate. It's as simple as that. They are desperate to do Stargate. The problem is they don't know how. They don't know what to do with it. And that's why Giant Freaking Robot is a flipping liar. Right? They do not have anything. What they have seen is they've seen that Stargate was trending on Twitter because of us lot. Because we all have been going on Twitter. And like I say, there's some brilliant campaigns, which again, I'll talk about in a minute, some brilliant campaigns on Twitter. But they've seen that it's trending, pulled a story out of their arse, inspired by something that happened 7 years ago. They might have sources in and around these people, so they might have heard about the Kurt Russell thing, but I doubt it. And then they've released this story saying there's going to be a sequel movie, which, to be honest, I'm very worried about might actually be true, but I don't think Amazon is stupid enough to do that. So that's the problem Amazon have now. This is why Stargate is taking so long, because Amazon are between a rock and a hard place. The easy thing to do is a reboot. The easy thing to do is do a sequel to the original movie. But they know the fans will go crazy. So they can't. So they don't know what to do with it. Yep. They've got Brad Wright's script, but I've been telling you guys for 9 months. They don't like it. So they don't know what to do with it. They literally have no idea. And you've got to remember, this is $100 to $150 million investment Amazon have got to make if they decide to make a series, even 10 episode series. You know, it's a lot of money they have to invest for something. They're just not sure. But yeah, Giant Freaking Robot are talking absolute crap. But then they went on. So they've released 2 more stories since, because that story got a load of clicks. So then they released a story taking credit for the hashtag We Want Stargate, saying, look, since we put this story out, it started trending, and We Want Stargate started trending. Aren't we brilliant? Let's bring back Stargate, everyone. They took fucking credit for it.
It was trending the day before they posted their original article.
Sebastian here, and let me add, I'm sorry saying this so badly. Mediavoire, I don't know. Don't speak French. I apologize, Sebastian. But Sebastian has been talking about this for 3 months. He's been trying to get this to people to push this on the 25th. I'm going to talk about the crap he's had to put up with in a minute, but you know, so he's been talking about this for months. I've been talking about this chance. So by Giant Freaks, I put a thing on Facebook saying basically, by Giant Freaking Robots logic, I think I'm responsible. I think I deserve the credit, because I've been talking about this for 9 months. I've been telling everybody that they want to do a movie. I actually did hear about Kurt Russell maybe coming back a couple of months ago, but I thought, I don't believe. It was only one person that told me, so I didn't believe it, so I didn't share it with anyone. I was like, I'm not touching that. I'll have the piss took out of me if I say that. So then I can't back it up at all. So, you know, so I actually think I deserve the credit. But actually, the people that do deserve the credit are the people like Sebastian that are killing it on Twitter. The people that are doing things like the 365 days of Stargate, and I've actually gone on there every single day with these hashtags and done little things, and you know, and 100 other people that have been killing themselves because they desperately want the show back. They deserve the credit. And Giant Freaking Robot will come in and do a newspaper article saying how brilliant they are. Toss us.
Yeah, Save the Gate's been going for years.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that might have been the podcast who started that one.
They've been very involved. They're one of the few people that actually responded to Sebastian when he first started trying to share this. They actually did come back to him. I'm not always Popcast's biggest fan. I think they clickbait a little bit, and with some of their stories, and I really don't like how they put videos together that take 20 minutes to get to the point. But they do work really hard, and they like I said, yeah, like you said, they've been involved in this for years.
Yeah.
So give them respect that that they're due, and they did respond to Sebastian. They did share his story out. You know, they did try and they backed him up.
Well, in terms of the community, they're probably people will probably recognize them more as one of the biggest contributors for trying to save the gate. They're trying to save Stargate, because they had their initial success, I believe, when they'd done their definitive history of Stargate.
Yeah,
that video's got like, I think it's over 1 million views.
Yeah, don't surprise me. They are slick as well. They do good videos.
Yeah, everything from then, they've obviously made loads more Stargate content, but then they started the campaign. And yeah, it's obviously not just them. There's loads of people. Like, I've been tweeting for years that we want Stargate back. Obviously, I've never started a campaign, but just me individually, I've done it.
You get some of the credit too.
I know.
According to
it's funny because when you posted that on your channel, I left a comment going, I've just posted on Facebook that there's a heat wave, and funnily enough, it's trending. Coincidence? I think not.
Exactly. You were to blame for the heat wave. You a sod. I'm going to come slap you on your bald head. I was a nightmare yesterday.
Oh, I hated it. But I'm still sweating.
Yeah, I'm still a little clammy. It's still quite humid here, isn't it? But then they've released a story yesterday now saying that Chris Hemsworth's brother Liam is being tapped up to do the movie, I assume with Kurt Russell. And again, it's logical. This is an actor that's worked with Roland Emmerich before. He's an actor actually that quite likes to produce and executive produce his own stuff. He's one of those actors sort of thing likes to really get involved in the story. If they could get somebody like that on board, he's got a big name. He's not a particularly big actor himself, but he's got a big name. Completely logical, but it's not true. Because, like I've said to you, repeat, Stargate don't know what they're doing with this. So why do you think they're tapping up actors? If they haven't got a script, or even though technically they have got a script for the sequel, they've had a script for this potentially for years. I imagine they would have to dust it off and rework it a little bit, but they've had a script for this for a long time. But they wouldn't be talking to actors yet. It's way too early. We would know more about what was going on if they were starting to talk to actors.
I have a theory about it, about where they pulled the name out from. Liam was in Independence Day, the new Independence Day, Resurgence. Resurgence, which is a project by Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they did Stargate, then they went on to do Independence Day. So for Giant Freaking Robot, probably looking at actors that they've worked with, like recently, because it was 2015, 2016 when that movie came out. So it's quite recent.
Yeah.
And they're probably just looking through and going, oh, that could work. That could work. That could work. And just picking names and throwing them out there. I'm hoping one of them sticks, because
hoping they might get lucky.
It probably would stick if you do it enough times.
They're a chimpanzee throwing shit out of their cage and just hoping, and they know that some of it will hit something.
Yeah.
And that's what the thing is, and that's why they've done. But they've done 3 stories. They haven't talked about Stargate in nearly a year, and then they've done 3 stories in 3 days.
Yeah,
because it's trending on Twitter. That's the simple. That is it. That is it. I hope we learn something at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, but I don't think we will. From what I'm being right. So again, just to be really clear about where we're at with Stargate right now, and this could change. And also, I mean, the people I speak to, I keep trying to reinforce this because that's just something. I keep getting accused of being a clickbaiter and talking rubbish myself. All I can do is share what I'm told. And I keep repeating the fact that these are not top executives I talk to, but they do work in and around MGM. 1 or 2 of them have got a little bit more access than others in certain areas. So when I talk about legal stuff, I've got a little bit more confidence in what I'm talking about. Some of them are just people that work in a building. You know, they're not things, but it's a bit of a network I've built up. So I tell you what I'm told, and I do my best with it. I would argue that if they were going to go with Brad Wright, they'd have greenlit it by now. And the longer it goes, I think the more credibility what I've been telling you should have, because I'm telling you why, and I've been telling you why it's slow for ages. So people who want to call me, say I'm basically a liar, then they say, well, we'd have had Stargate now. You know, they've got a script. Brad Wright's ready to go. Why haven't we? You know, so that annoys me a little bit. Also, I could talk rubbish and I could do big like stories and just hope nobody remembers, but I don't. I keep telling you when stuff's a rumor, when it's not. But anyway, try to be honest. But anyway, so I say again, I'm ranting and keep forgetting my place. Losing my place. What I was going to say actually was, I think it was Chris Smith a little while ago had a really good point that they'll try to do like a hybrid of the two. I think what Amazon are going to do is they'll Star Trek this and they'll New Trek it. So they will, I think they could do a movie. I think Kurt Russell appearing in it is very possible. And they won't worry too much about that. And they will pick and choose the canon from the TV series that makes sense. They won't worry about it too much. They'll create a new story, but ever so often they'll pick something from the TV series to sort of go, oh, remember this? Oh, remember that? So they won't worry too much about canon. The stories will just develop, but then they'll try to keep the fans happy by, you know, those little Easter eggs and things that they love to do.
To the past. Yeah, that could work. So someone that Lee Media is that Sebastian?
Yeah.
So he made a point earlier that the new show, the new audience might be slightly larger than the old audience.
Yeah.
And that's something I was thinking about as well. They are going to be looking at tapping into the new generation because realistically, Stargate fans who watched from the very beginning, they've got to be 30s, 40s, 50s and older.
I'm mid-40s, yeah.
So, I mean, I started watching it when I was 11 years old and I'm 30 next year. So I'm probably one of the younger fans.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, streaming services are popular with the young. Things like Stranger Things and things like that.
Yeah.
Very popular with the younger generation.
Very young demographic, yeah.
They're going to try to tailor to them, I think, more so. But if they do that, I wouldn't be as annoyed if they do what you just said and do little nods to the past, acknowledge its existence kind of thing.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be too bad for me.
I think long enough has gone. Remember, it's not been on our screens for 11 years now as well.
Yeah.
So long enough has gone by that you're going to be aiming towards a new audience as well. It's not just appeasing us. They got to do something that's going to try to bring in, like you said, those guys that were only a couple of years old when a universe ended.
Yeah.
What do you think about Universe though? Is it because I do think this? I know the people that love Stargate Universe love it, and some people think it's the best of the Stargate 3. I don't. I think it ended on a bit of a low, even though it was getting better. I will concede it was getting better, but when it got cancelled, I was just like, well, yeah, of course it's got cancelled. It's actually borderline boring. I think the writing was on the wall well into very early on in the second series. But what do you think? How much did Stargate Universe hurt it, or how much does it, because it sort of ended on a low? Does it mean that they doing this like hybrid thing is even more likely because they can almost pretend like that didn't happen?
See, I'm the opposite to you. I liked Universe, and I always thought it was too ahead of its time when it came out. The audience just wasn't ready for it. Because you look at shows that come out kind of like now, like The Expanse and things like that. They're pretty dark. They're pretty character driven, much like what Universe was. It wasn't very action based. That's like what The Expanse is now. If Universe came out now, it would do fantastic. But yeah,
remembering Expanse didn't do fantastic.
Did it not?
It did okay. It never got the numbers Amazon wanted, and that's one of the reasons why we're in a a pause at the moment, and that's another series they don't quite know what to do with. But I think if we do a slight adjustment to what you said, I think if it came out now and it was put on streaming services, it would get a lot of respect and it would win awards. I don't necessarily think it would get loads of viewers. I think it would get good viewers, and I think it would get a really loyal fan base. And actually, streaming services aren't as bothered about like viewing figures as they used to be. They care about the demographic and they care about loyalty. In that, will they have a show that people will follow to their platform? So Paramount Plus love Star Trek because suckers like me will get Paramount Plus because they want to watch Star Trek. They won't watch anything else on the platform necessarily. You know, if I find something else on there, that's great. But I get Paramount Plus to watch Star Trek.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Amazon Prime want with Stargate, because even if they don't get, 50, 60 million people watching every week, they won't care, because even 2 or 3 million people will subscribe just to watch it. And that's what they care about. They'll get the growth and they'll get the thing. And The Expanse is similar. That's why The Expanse will come back, because it's got a hardcore but quite a small fan base.
Yeah.
But it will come back because they're not as bothered about the viewing figures as a network used to be, which is advertising is the point. Because remember, that's where it's the difference in where the revenue comes from, isn't it? It's not advertising, it's subscriptions. So how do you increase subscriptions? It's almost better to have several cult shows almost that people will follow, and people will stay online for the next season. You're not abiding to advertisers going, "No, I don't like that show. We don't want to advertise on that show." That's how that gets cut.
Well, yeah, that's very true. And the only reason I have Disney Plus is for the Star Wars shows. I don't watch anything else on Disney. I don't watch any of them. I like Marvel, but I don't like. If I've watched it once, I'm not going to watch it again. I'm not really that bothered about it. Star Wars, I will rewatch, like The Mandalorian and Boba Fett and Obi-Wan. And I'm going to try and get into Clone Wars as well on several people's recommendations. And the only reason I have Amazon Prime, other than the fact I use it for Twitch, is I use it for The Boys and now The Expanse.
Yeah. Disney, Star Wars is dead. I think that's the thing, isn't it, as well? This is another reason why Amazon are 100% going to make Stargate, though, because they want a sci-fi franchise. Look, Disney are killing it with Star Wars. Paramount are going to get Star Trek. I know Amazon got Picard and got Lower Decks, but they're not going to be getting anything new. Just look how well Strange New Worlds is doing. That's the sort of thing. That's what Stargate's going to look like. And I honestly think I actually got a lot of shit 6 months ago or so, because I said Stargate producers and MGM and Amazon were saying, look at Star Trek when for the production value. And a lot of people went, I don't want them to look at Star Trek. New Trek's crap. I said, no, you're missing the point. It's the production value. Yep. It's the little more Strange New Worlds. I think Strange New Worlds will be what they really look at now, because it's been phenomenal, hasn't it? It's been so popular. It's easily the most popular Star Trek and of the new Trek series by quite a wide way, they reckon. So, but it's got a bit of humor in it. It's got action. It's got that's what the new Star Trek's going to look. Stargate, sorry, is going to look like. If they've got any sense, anyway. But it won't look like Stargate Universe. It'll look more like Stargate SG-1, but with a much bigger budget.
Nicer cameras, nicer sets.
A lot more CGI.
Yeah. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing in a sci-fi show.
Yeah. The one thing I did want to... Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, the worry I have is if they're trying to go down the same route as other popular franchises like Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever. I don't really want them to have... See, I'm gonna say this, but I do want it and I don't. Like loads and loads of different shows. Like I don't want I don't know, Stargate Asgard, then Stargate Goa'uld, and then Stargate the Ori, and then Stargate Ancient. Ancient. The reason I said I'm going to say I want that, but I do, is because of the Ancients prequel. I do want that one.
I think that was something apparently they were looking at, but this was before when MGM thought it was going to have free reign.
Yeah,
and
I don't want there to be like, I don't know, like I say, like multiple different interconnected, like loads of different shows like Marvel do and Disney, because it's very hard to keep up,
especially when the different time frames. Thank you, Star Wars. You have to do math every time a new show comes out. Where does this fit? What I was told, but this is back when MGM thought, you've got to remember as well, Stargate came that close to getting greenlit. Brad Wright's came that close to getting greenlit. When the sale went through, MGM thought they had free reign and they were going to that was going to be the first major project to get greenlit, and then Amazon saw the books and went, "This is the worst run company on the planet. Nothing's, everything's on hold." And they're not being allowed. That's another reason why we've got no Stargate yet. It's because Amazon just went in and went, "Geez, this is a state. This is just a complete mess." But yeah, it got that close, and they were in early stage development of doing Stargate Ancients, which I actually think was a prequel I would have been on board with, and I hate prequels.
It's the only thing that makes sense in terms of another series, because they are so far removed from the current canon that you can do literally anything you want.
Yeah. So how's our TVs? Doom, Cox, latest video they're improving. There's John Favreau, maybe under Warner. Is done. Filoni is the animated side. Okay. I think that's about Mandalorian. What I was told was Stargate was going to go along the lines of more like the Mandalorian, the Boba Fett, and that way, in that the series they would do maybe 3 or 4 small series a year of like 10 episodes that they would all intertwine with each other, but they might be like slightly different perspectives of the same story, like the Mandalorian and the Boba Fett, and a couple of these other series that are coming are not obviously Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's a completely standalone, but that they'd almost be like chapters in a book, and they decide to interlock with each other and things. But that's, again, the problem is this is all what was when MGM thought they had free reign, because they were told Amazon were just going to be the customer and MGM were going to be allowed to push forward to the projects they wanted to do. And Amazon would just basically pay for them. But then, those two chief executives left. I know Amazon have had a few financial issues since, and they've massively overspent on Lord of the Rings, which is a bit of a perfect storm, really. There's like, at the point of the sale going through, all these things just sort of happened all at once. Amazon Prime's figures dropped. For live subscriptions, which is the first time in their history. Nothing like what Netflix has suffered, but it dropped. Their sales through Amazon normal dropped, which was just always good because it like quadrupled during COVID. So if they thought they were going to keep those numbers up, they're insane. There's a general cost of living crisis. They overspent on Lord of the Rings, and then a lot of people, even though they've not seen it, hate it already. It's just a bit of a perfect storm for Stargate to go against, or for the very least that they're going to want to push MGM to do a project that's going to work. They're not going to want MGM to waste any money at all. But it's like it's just a mess at MGM, and that's the biggest problem we've got.
When the news come out that they didn't like the state of the company, I initially just thought, how did you not know the company was a mess? Because they filed for bankruptcy 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And they've been basically clinging on with probably just James Bond, I guess.
A lot of reality TV shows and things like that they own.
Yeah.
They owned a lot of little things as well that they were steadily selling off.
Yeah, so they sold all their... They didn't have studios, did they?
No, they don't have any physical studios, but they did have, or at least parts of lots of little channels. They had, if you ever look at the what they own, the list is massive. They had an animation studio, which is where the rumor about them doing a Stargate animation series came from, but they got rid of that. They were streamlining their business over the last 10 years. Anyway, put it that way. And actually, but I should say, as a business, apparently the last 10 years or so, it's been run quite well, and it has been reasonably profitable. I'm talking about on the creative side of things, because that's the sort of thing they can look at the business books and go, okay, well, there's this profit here, and they've got this. But when they actually then like basically physically went in and go, okay, where are we at with this project? And then and apparently the Amazon executives were just like, why are you doing that? Why are you going this? This is, people aren't going to watch this shit. And they were just really annoyed with the planning parts of it.
Yeah, it always felt to me kind of like a cop-out excuse.
Well, I think there's an element of that as well, to be honest.
They went in and they said that just so they can, I don't know, turf people out, do whatever they want, take over the company completely, and go their own direction.
You got to remember as well, the sale to MGM wasn't popular. So Amazon was saying all the right things. They were keeping all the MGM people on side. They were saying, you're going to have complete creative control. You're going to be able to do this, you're going to do that. And then as soon as they actually got the sale went through, they went, COVID. We can't do that because of COVID. So, you're not financial squeeze. And I'm like, whoa. You knew that before the sale. You knew that a year ago.
Yeah.
We all knew there was going to be a cost of living crisis. If you didn't, you're an idiot. That there was going to be a financial or economic impact to 2 years of COVID.
Yeah.
So the economy was going to be trashed. So, I mean, they knew that. They just were saying the right things because they were trying to get it through the FTC as smoothly as possible. And they did. It worked.
Yeah.
So, I think Brad Wright has known about this for a long time as well, because I think that's one of the reasons why he talks on Companion so much about Stargate. I think it's why Joseph Malozzi a couple of weeks ago tweeted the front page of the script and things like that. He's been doing a campaign, a media campaign for 12 months because he knows he might not get to make his show, and he desperately wants to. And
he's been doing an ongoing interview. I think they've obviously they do it weekly. I think they get together, him and David Reed, talking about all the things that basically reminiscing about the show, and then he's also telling us little bits that we wouldn't otherwise have known, such as the things that he tweeted about Stargate Atlantis, like the potential 6th season. He talks about that as well.
Joseph Malozzi did the same. Sorry, you're talking about Joseph Malozzi. Sorry, doesn't he? And Brad Wright goes on Companion and does that a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, Malozzi's on Gateworld. Yeah.
Constantly though, absolutely constantly.
Yeah.
You're very welcome, sir. See, I mean, there you go.
He gave me a heart. I'm going to give him a heart.
Yeah, why not? Big cuddles. Let's just have a look. Make sure we've copied everything I wanted to talk about. All right, so the Twitter storm isn't a Twitter storm anymore. It's a Twitter event. Sebastian said about doing this Twitter storm next week. #we want Stargate. We're all going to kick off at 9 o'clock and we're just going to go crazy. First of all, a bunch of Gators got upset because he felt like they hadn't invited him. He hadn't invited them, and I'm just like, grow up. He was telling everybody he could think of. Only a couple of people responded. To be fair, Joseph Malozzi responded. The Popcast has responded. I did a video on it straight away. I thought it was a great idea. I know they do this or have different events every year, but a lot of them were quite unpleasant to Sebastian, which is really disappointing. A couple of others seemed very big of themselves. They thought, no, if we're not doing it, no one should. He's been moaned at for the hashtag because he said, really, you have to have. The one guy emailed him and said, you need to do a new hashtag. I've spoken to Joseph Malozzi and other Gators, and it needs to be specific to the Twitter storm. You can't use another one. It's got to be a new one. But it wasn't. Sebastian, I don't know if you know this, but it'll work. It would be better if we did it this way. And this was only a week ago as well, the last couple of days. It wasn't that. It was like, you need to do a new Twitter. And I'm just like, that's not very pleasant, to be honest.
Yeah.
The same chap has texted me and say, we're going to have a new hashtag. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So I'll push it next week, but I'm not really. I'll push We Want Stargate as well, or just Brad Stargate, or whatever you want to push. Just let's get on there and just make as much noise about Stargate as you possibly can.
Why does it matter what hashtag you use? I mean, if we're using We Want Stargate, they're using, I don't know, Save the Gate. If they both trend, we all win.
Yeah.
So what's the problem?
Yeah. Well, there you go. Managed Twitter storms. Yeah. There are rules to it, apparently. They was going to text him the rules. I'm just like, what? So, I mean, it's just like, yeah, make me. So that is my attitude. But I'm a bit of an arse when people tell me what to do. I sort of like go, you reckon? But I can be a bit of a, yeah.
If you go to twitter.com/twitterstormrules, it's there.
Oh, well, there you go then. So who knew? Who cared? I didn't. So I just thought, you know what we should be doing is motivating a fan base, people that adore the show, to get excited about it. We should be saying that's a great idea, Sebastian. But if they'd have gone, oh, but you've obviously you've never done this before. Sebastian will say he's never done this before. He doesn't really know what he's doing. Or if we do it this way, it'll be better. Not, why haven't you invited us? This isn't, blah, blah, blah. And then, you need to change it anyway. You're not doing it right. And quite unpleasantly. I was a bit disappointed in our fan base. I was a bit disappointed in our community, really. But then there are people on Twitter like 365 Days of Stargate and a bunch of others. There's too many to say that are really got really behind it. Oh, great! Come on, yeah, let's do this. And I just thought, you know what, we should be one team, because one voice is louder than several disparate voices. And there are other projects going on. There are like the Stargate video that they want to put together, a fan video, which is, like I say, go on Twitter, you'll find out. There's several places sharing it. That's a great idea. But it's like us coming on here and talking about it. It's just it's getting interest. Let's build it up. The negativity is just not necessary. And I would argue that the We Want Stargate, More Stargate, Bring Back Stargate, Revive Stargate, whatever else, it's the wrong campaign, really. Or just hashtag Stargate. It's the wrong campaign in a way. If you want Brad Wright to be in charge, it should be Brad Stargate. We want Brad Stargate. Because at the way we're going at the moment, it won't be. Unless we make a crap load of noise. And I know I don't always get a bit of grief for saying that, because it's not popular and a lot of people don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. They could have done, and I said this earlier, but I will repeat it. We could have Stargate greenlit right now. We've got a pilot. I know for a fact they did loads of preliminary work under MGM, initial artwork and stuff that they were selling it because they had 2 competing scripts at one point. And Brad's rights won back again when MGM thought it had full control. They decided they were going to go with Brad's. They did loads of preliminary, including budgetary work. They did loads of this work. I'm not allowed to say this, but I've actually seen some of the budgetary work, so I know for a fact it's true. It could be greenlit. A lot of the groundwork was laid. The reason why we're 3 or 4 months on, it still hasn't been, is because they're not sure about Brad Wright's project, and that's it in a nutshell. And
well, the other script was Malosi's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's the Anunnaki one.
I've never got a name on it. One suggestion was that it was Dean Devlin's. That Dean Devlin wrote it, but I can't confirm that. But that was the rumor that I was told, that it was Joseph. It was Dean Devlin, and that would have been the Anunnaki would have been the bad guy, which is thank you very much, House of Trades. I appreciate it, sir. My coffee fund. It's the wife will let me keep doing this fund. We want Brad's Stargate. That should be the campaign if that's what you want, a continuation of the story and not a reboot. That's the campaign. Hashtag Bradgate. Oh man, you should have come up with that 6 months ago. Hashtag Bradgate.
I'm trying to create a Twitter account right now. But they're all taken.
Do it. And Sebastian just make a good point as well. I do think one of the reasons was that Brad Wright wrote a script based on MGM's capability at the time, 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago. And Amazon kept saying, we want something bigger, we want something bolder. But since then, I've actually been told Amazon was secretly involved in this 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. They approached MGM to say, we would love to have Stargate. If you make Stargate, we will buy it. You know, so I mean, and when they were doing the preliminary work and Brad was doing initial writing and doing rewrites, Amazon were actually even involved at that point, saying bigger, bigger, bigger sort of thing. But yeah. What do we think about the AI scripts? I thought they were a lot of fun. I thought they were a great way of advertising Stargate again. And I loved seeing RDA and everybody on the big screen. What do you think?
I
Did you actually listen to them?
I didn't see them. No.
They were hard.
They're on the companion, aren't they? You have to pay for it. I didn't want to pay for it.
I didn't pay for it either. I've got a lovely subscriber who assisted me in seeing it. It's a good story. I thought it was good.
I'm going to share a link.
Okay, go for it. But yeah, it was good.
We want Bradgate.
We want Bradgate. And could Brad Wright use his Big Finish products? So Big Finish today have announced that they've actually got the license back to do podcasts or, well, audio. They're not really audio books, or audio stories of original Stargate series. Initially, we're only going to actually get the ones they've already done back on, which apparently you can still get, but they're really expensive. But they're going to be able to re-release those. It isn't actually confirmed whether we're going to be getting new stories or not just yet, but it looks like hopefully we will, particularly if they're popular. So when they come back out and they reappear, then yeah, do it. You know, get in there and Twitter. We want Bradgate. Send me the link, mate. We'll share it later.
I've just had 2 followers. I will schedule loads of tweets on this account.
Okay, excellent. Amazon are making it worse for themselves by dragging their feet. They continue to lose money. I want Brad Wright, Stargate, and Amazon should make this happen or hire new staff that can. Do you know what? If I'm 100% honest, I don't care if they bring back Brad Wright or not. I never liked
Stargate Wars Assemble Endgame.
You're sorry?
I'm just reading this comment. Stargate Wars Assemble Endgame.
Hashtag Stargate Wars Assemble Endgame. It would trend. So I can't argue with it.
I couldn't read the name.
Yeah. Sam Esme of Battlestar soft sequel reboot. Yeah. I've heard that they're looking for a showrunner. Well, the most recent thing I've heard now, but this is a couple of weeks old, was they've put a small team of office people together, really. I imagine there's an office with like the Stargate logo. There's that logo sort of thing on their on an office door. It just has the home logo sort of thing. And that they are trying to put a list together of who would direct, who would think for, but they are having to do it for a movie and a TV series. But apparently they still haven't decided which one to go with. But if they were to go with a project, well, they want the movies to immediately feed into a TV series. So the idea being that whoever runs the movie will go on to do the TV series. A bit like Gunn did with after he did that bloody awful film with Peacemaker, you know, and then he did the Peacemaker TV series. That James
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad, and then go into a new TV series. That's what they want to do. And with streaming the way they are now, they're like little movies.
Yeah.
Liam Hemsworth, if he did the movie, I could very easily see him doing a TV series as well. I don't see any reason why it couldn't breathe through, but we'll have to see.
Series now are as big, if not bigger, than movies. It's not like it was in the old days where if you did a TV show, it was somehow less than doing a movie.
Yeah. That was very separate, wasn't it?
Yeah,
movie actors, TV actors, and never you never crossed over. If you were a movie actor and you did a TV show, it's because your career had gone through the floor, sort of thing. Nowadays, you know, there's big movies like Chris Pine and people like this, and you know, doing a Chris Pratt and whatever, doing both. You know, Chris Evans even just done a TV series on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
You know, it's just like there's no stigma to do both at all, and that's their thinking. So they are looking at the moment for a showrunner, potentially directors. Even though I personally would like Amanda Tapping to be involved on that side of things, and she has been considered, but again, that was back when MGM thought it had control. I think Amazon are going a completely different way with it myself. That's everything I'm hearing. They're going to go a new Trek way with this, and it's going to be a blended approach.
If the dice did fall in our favor and we did get Brad back as the showrunner, it would be fantastic for everyone, because we would, like you just said, you want to see Amanda Tapping do some sort of directing. She would no doubt be involved, because she works with Brad right now anyway. She worked with him on Travelers. She obviously worked with him back on Stargate as well, but I want it so bad.
I asked the question a little while ago, could Amanda Tapping step up and be showrunner?
Yeah.
She's directed for years and been quite successful. She's been an executive producer. She's produced and been an executive producer on a couple of different projects. The next step is potentially showrunner. And it used to be traditionally the showrunner actually wrote, like Brad Wright, wrote a lot of the episodes and really guided the storyline. But really, like Kevin Feige has changed that. Kevin Feige monitors, and he's a manager over the lot. He doesn't write the stories. He monitors the stories, and he keeps the ship going in the right direction. Amanda Tapping could do that if she wanted to. I did wonder about that a little while ago.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation about that.
I don't think MGM did all the rights to The Hobbit, did they? The family do. Amazon had to buy the rights for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit directly from the family, didn't they? From the Tolkien estate. That's why it costs so much, because they had to spend like 600 million or something to get the rights to make the new TV series. It's something stupid like that. So no, I don't think MGM did hold the rights to The Hobbit.
100 million. I'm in the wrong job.
I don't know if they owned distribution rights. Did MGM do the first movies? I don't know off the top of my head. But distribution rights and production rights a lot of the time are different. So a company can own the distribution rights to a project. Let's think of an example. The Expanse is a good example. The Amazon own the distribution rights. They don't actually own the rights to the show. A separate the production company does. So Amazon couldn't make The Expanse on their own. But also the production company can't make a show and then sell it to whoever they like, because Amazon own the distribution rights.
I just had a quick look at who did Lord of the Rings initially. It was New Line Cinema, which is a Warner Brothers company.
So it'd be Warner Brothers. So there you go. Of course it was New Line Cinema. As soon as you say that, I can remember the opening sequence now. But yeah, I mean, so anyway, we've got a week, people. We've got 1 week to keep shoving Stargate right up Amazon's backside with our new hashtag Bradgate.
You see, on the 27th, when I tweet, I'm not just going to be using We Want Stargate. I'm going to use every single hashtag I can think of.
Yeah, and that's what I'm telling people to do.
Yeah,
just hashtag everything. We'll be back on the 27th. I don't know if, Matt, you can join us or not, but I will be here at the very least. And hopefully, Matt will. Anybody else wants to join us, come on. We'll have a bit of a Stargate party. Message me. Sorry? You should be able to. Check with the missus. See what she says.
Oh, I made the decisions.
You liar. Just she doesn't watch the videos.
No.
I'm just waiting for her to appear in the background and go, no, you don't.
Oh.
Shut it, Matt. Yeah, so we'll be back next week. And seriously, if anybody in the chat or is a regular subscriber fancies join us just to come on and tell us your thoughts or your memories about Stargate, message me either on here or go to Facebook and message me. As long as you don't come on and swear and stuff, I would love to have a few people on next week. Let's have a little bit of a party. I will put something in the comments, and anybody who wants to join. What I'm not doing is doing. Did you ever see? I don't know if you were watching me back then. I did a video, and I basically invited anyone, and I actually publicly put the link up. And I got a
Also,
load
people who weren't even watching you joined.
yeah. People joined, and then as soon as I sort of like clicked them on to go, come on, say hi, it switched to gay porn. God damn it. A couple of people did join though, and they were both amazing. Aliens in Space, who's a I think he's great. He came on, he talked to us for about 20 minutes. But yes, if anybody want to join us and tell us about your favorite Stargate episodes or what it means to you, more importantly, come and join us. Just send me a link. Come and say hello to me either through Twitter. You can message me through Twitter at TV_Sci. You can go on the Facebook group and you can IM me, it's Jamie Rickson. Or you can message me on here, but it's a little bit harder if you message me here because I can't send you the link directly. But
jump into the Discord. You can send me a message. I can pass it on.
Discord as well. Thank you, sir. I hadn't forgotten about that.
Speaking of which, give me a second.
You're going to put the link on. Okay, everybody, just wait. Wait.
I accidentally pasted it twice, but it's fine.
So yeah. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe and hit that bell notification. It really helps us out. You can also consider becoming a fully fledged SciTrekker. Hit the join button. If you support the channel and you want to show your love, that's the best way to do it. And you can go to sci-trek.com for merchandise as well. And I will be adding to that. And if ever you've got any ideas for designs, I'm more than happy to steal them. So that is the Discord server. Right. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to go watch the second half of the women's football, England against Spain. I'm supporting the Lionesses. So that's going to go and do that now.
I'm going to go watch Stranger Things.
Oh, God, I'm so hot. So sweaty. But thanks, guys. And if you see any more giant freaking Stargate robots, just don't read it because the chances are it's nonsense. Or them taking credit for everyone else's hard work. And that's the bit that pisses me off. Somebody said, actually, I'm just going to leave you this quickly. One of the Gate World people said, "Oh, should we do things? Should we?" I think then them talking about rumors and lies, and I'm like, rumors don't bother me. If you say it's a rumor, I talk about rumors all the time, but I will tell you it's a rumor, or I will tell you where it's come from. Right? This is a subject I adore. I'm brave enough, sometimes stupid enough, to go out there and tell you things that I'm not 100% certain whether they're true or not, but I will tell you if I'm not sure. And, and get the information because I love talking about this show because it's one of my favorite shows ever. Gate World and people don't do that. If it's not 100% fact out there, they don't talk about it, So that's fine. That's the way they do it.
They position themselves more as a news channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like actual news. So
yeah. And their credibility is really important to them. I'm more of a fan channel. Yeah. If you want to do different. So, but what giant freak? So that I felt almost that they were lumping me in with giant freaking robot, but they weren't. But the thing is that giant freaking robot are doing that pissed me off is one, they're saying that what is a rumor is fact, and that annoys me. But taking credit for other people's hard work really annoyed me, and that is the bit that I will not forgive. It's not just a fun story. They're like, it's a bit of salt, pinch of salt on that. I don't really believe it, but fun story. That's just stupid and childish and petty, and that annoyed me. That made me angry. But if Liam Hemsworth's story is true, then I'll go on board with that. To be honest, I quite like Liam Hemsworth. I watched a movie with him last week. They do those movies extra often where the people hunt down a human being for sport. I think it was called. I can't remember what it's called now. Something Night. But anyway, it's on Sky Cinema at the moment, and I watched it last week, and it's bloody brilliant. Liam Hemsworth was in it. He executive produced it as well. It's really good. Those films are normally shit, but that was really good. But anyway, Matt Dean, the Discord link is broken, sir.
Is it? That's the one that we've got on all our videos.
Dang it.
2 moments.
They last so long, don't they?
No, I usually set them to last forever. No limit and expire never. But
you'll figure it.
Here we go. Here is the new link.
I thought I was Irish. Thanks, Sebastian.
I've got something. I'll tell you a way to fix it in a minute, Joe.
Okay.
On the
No
video.
worries. Right. Yes, and thank you, and thank everybody for joining this evening. It's been really, really great. Please, like I say, like, subscribe, share the video wherever the hell you like. Over on the SciTrek Sides channel, I'll have little snippets from this video over the next few days, so you can watch it in bite size. Say bye-bye, Matt.
Bye-bye, Matt.
Bye-bye, guys. And as always, whenever I finish a video, I have to go and try to find the outro, which I can never find quickly enough. Bye.